Hi everyone, Gwen from Lighthouse, just here to finally answer some of your questions for the Patreon Q&A. It's been probably a month, and I'm really sorry I meant to do it sooner, but we've just had a lot going on at the sanctuary with the giant pig rescue and some other things. So I'm going to answer your questions here. I have them all written down, and hopefully you'll have some more for me soon. So we'll just get into it. I have Italo sleeping behind me here. Okay, so the first question is from Jordan, and she asks, what types of animals do you have at your sanctuary? So, Lighthouse is the largest sanctuary in Oregon, so we have close to 300 residents that live here. And we basically have at least one of every farm species, but we have multiple of every farm species. So we have goats, sheep, chickens, pigs, roosters, horses, cows, Helen the bison, llamas, donkeys. Is that it? I feel like I'm missing someone, but yeah, so we have lots of animals here that we care for. We're all volunteers, so no one gets paid. We have no staff, so it's a lot of work, but it's really rewarding. So the second question is from Nicole, and she asks, have you had a chance to visit other farm sanctuaries and connect, and do you help each other? That's actually a really great question, because right now we're in the middle of a giant rescue of close to 200 pigs that needed rescued in Oregon. They were in a horrible situation of neglect, and there was no way. Lighthouse, we went to sort of assess the situation before we got this coalition together, and it was just apparent that it was not something that we could do on our own. So we got together with a bunch of trusted sanctuaries in the Pacific Northwest and created a coalition. And we were able to get all 200 pigs off the property into a staging location. They're currently being cared for, they're being spayed, they're being neutered, and we are working on rehoming them. So it's a massive effort, but it would never have happened if we didn't work with other sanctuaries in the area, other rescues, and it's just so important that we all work together. It's really easy when you're running a rescue to sort of isolate yourself, or just because you're so busy all the time, and to not really create those connections with other rescues. But in a situation like this, it's just become so apparent that we really do need each other, and we need to stick together, and we need to support each other, because that's the only way that we're really going to be successful. So yeah, we've met some great people, and we're just so thankful that we have such a wonderful community here in the Pacific Northwest that we can work with. So it's been really amazing, although it's been such hard work with this big rescue. So the third question is from Simone, and she asks, what are you most proud of at your sanctuary, and what are your immediate and long-term plans? So the first answer to that question is, what am I most proud of at the sanctuary? I think probably what I'm most proud of is just how peaceful and happy it is here, how well adjusted and healthy our animals are. We kind of give everybody the freedom to be who they want to be, to hang out with who they want to hang out with, to go where they want to go within the confines of our sanctuary. And we get the comment all the time from people who come and visit, and they're just, amazed at how well adjusted these animals are after the trauma that they've suffered. And to me, I'm proud of the work that we do. I'm proud of putting the time in and of giving these animals this beautiful place to live for the rest of their lives. But I think mostly I'm just proud of the animals that come here for learning to trust again, and finding love and finding friendship. And to me, that's the best part of this, and that's what I'm most proud of. And the second part of the question, about what our immediate and long-term plans are. So before this big pig rescue, we had been in the process of building a new hospital barn, which is going to be amazing. Unfortunately, we had to push that back a little bit, but we are going to be building a beautiful facility that's going to help us take care of all of our residents just a little bit better. We do a lot of medical care here with our vet, and so it's going to be so much better to just have a nice, clean, sanitary environment to do those procedures in, instead of trying to get them done in our barn. And so that is an immediate goal for us, is to have that facility built. But long term, we just want to continue to grow. We want to continue to offer refuge to animals that need it, and continue to sort of promote our mission, which is to see animals as individuals and to show people just how much they value their life. So we do have a lot of plans in the coming year that you'll see hopefully come to fruition. But the most immediate pressing concern is that we get this hospital barn built, and also that we are able to successfully complete our mission with this pig rescue and get everybody placed. So thank you for that question, Simone. And the final question is from Michael, and he's got three sort of questions here. The first is, how was the experience getting started? And that's sort of a long story, so I'll try to make it short. But we did not start Lighthouse. Lighthouse is the oldest sanctuary in Oregon, so this is the 19th year it's been in operation. And we basically were just volunteers for 2 years. And there came a point in time when the founder and executive director was no longer able to fulfill his obligations. He kind of left in a haste. And there was no plan in place to take care of these animals. There was talk of them being sent back to auction. The whole sanctuary was in disarray. It was kind of a nightmare. And we were just kind of living in Eugene, which is a city about 45 minutes away. We don't have kids. We didn't have any pressing obligations. And so my husband and I were like, well, let's just move out there and see if we can stabilize things for, give it 6 months, see if we can stabilize things, and we can get somebody else to come in and kind of take over for us. So we did. We moved out here, and it was incredibly challenging because we certainly didn't have all the skills that we needed to know to take care of all of these animals. So every day is still a learning experience, but in the beginning it was really obvious that we were sort of just constantly trying to figure out how to do things, how to take care of animals if they're sick, and learning how to give shots and trim hooves and all of those things. But it's been 4 years and we're still here, and we are still learning every single day. But I'm really glad that portion of our life is over, because it was really stressful. And then the second question from Michael is, what are your top 3 biggest struggles? I think that the top 3 biggest struggles for any sanctuary are probably pretty much the same. The first is funding. The second is getting the volunteer help that you need. And the third, for me personally, is, and I'm sure that this is the same for a lot of other sanctuaries as well, is the amount of loss that you have to go through, just having to make those end-of-life decisions for animals that you love, having animals that you love, no matter how hard you try to heal them, you just can't. That for me is probably the hardest part of running a sanctuary, because you never get the chance to grieve, you never get the chance to heal, because once you say goodbye to someone, you have a million other things to do, and you have to, the practicality of it is that you have all these other people who are depending on you, so you have to just kind of move on, and it's hard, it's really hard. But absolutely funding and getting enough volunteers. We, as I mentioned before, we're all volunteer nonprofit, and we certainly could not do this work without the help of our volunteers. So it's really important that we get the people that we need to come and help us with cleaning and filling waters and doing, basic medical animal care for our animals, like, trimming hooves, and sometimes we have some volunteers that can give shots, that sort of thing. So those are probably the 3 biggest for us. And then the last part of this question is, what do you know now that you wish you knew in the beginning? That's a tough one. When I first came here, I was basically in a constant state of panic. I was constantly worried that the animals were sick. I was constantly worried that I wasn't doing a good enough job. I was constantly worried that everything was collapsing around me. It was just 24/7 panic, panic, panic. And so I think I would tell myself then, if I could, that all you can do is work the hardest that you can and approach everything with heart and integrity and compassion and kindness, and do your best. And it's not always going to work out the way that you hope it's going to work out or the way that you think it should work out, but as long as you know your heart is in it, and as long as you work as hard as you can, then everything is going to be okay. And I think I would have saved myself a lot of a lot of agony over things that maybe weren't such a big deal, but I certainly thought they were in the beginning. So that is it for the questions. I would love to do more of these if anybody else has any other questions that they'd like to ask. This got kind of long. I know, I'm sorry, 10 minutes of me rambling, but hopefully you enjoy this. And I will be trying to do an update soon about the pig rescue specifically, because that has just been such a massive undertaking and taking so much of our energy and our physical energy, our mental energy, and I just love to fill everybody in and kind of tell you what's going on with that. So anyways, thank you so much for hanging out and listening to me ramble, and we will see you soon. Bye.